Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsa Chanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Shanti. We salute Bhagavan Sri Krishna, the destroyer of the demon Kamsa and Chanura, the son of Vasudeva, the dear darling of Mother Devaki, and teacher of the whole world, Guru of the whole world, the Lord of the universe. We salute him again and again. So we are now back to our reading of the Bhagavat, Srimad Bhagavat, and we are reading the story of the King Bharata. This King Bharata was pious king. He was very great administrator, ruled whole of India with power and kindness. And then he lived the life of Rishi, sage. So he left the kingdom and gave the responsibility to his children, and then he went into life of recluse, and performing tremendous austerity and spiritual practice. And there one day, this is a very great story to understand how we think little attachment, okay, what is there? I love this, I love that. Even a slightest attachment to the world can drag a person of high spiritual level down to the ordinary level. So this is the story of that Bharat, in whose name is India, Bharat person. And he, during his austere days in the ashrama, he saw one day a deer, and a mother deer was chased by some other predators, and then the mother deer gave birth to the baby, and then mother died, and so the child became helpless. So seeing that condition, his heart became very soft. Any good person is very soft-hearted, no? Feeling for the good of others. And that may be a trap. Good to others is good, but attachment is not good. And how attachment comes, we do not know. So when first it came, it was out of just simple love for an innocent animal. Just simple. And then thought that I should take care because mother is not there, how the baby deer will survive, and took care of the baby and then nursed and started giving food, keeping the deer not to go out and no one can attack the baby deer to kill him. Other predators come, etc., etc. And it happened that gradually, his time for meditation is getting lesser because his attention is going to take care of the deer. And then he is meditating, and suddenly he gets out of the meditation. Oh, the deer, baby deer, where is he? Let me find. So all that I'm thinking of deer and deer and deer, his mind got totally lost into the deer. And then your meditation reduced. Is thinking I am Atman, the world is unreal, the God is the reality. And the purpose, he gave up everyone, his own kingdom, his own wife, children, everyone. Why? To love God and to get absorbed in God. And now, giving up everything, then becoming a mendicant, eating on roots and fruits in a deep, in a forest, with no material support of food, shelter, gorgeous living, nothing. Was to be totally absorbed in God. And now he fell in love with a baby deer. And whenever the deer is not seen, he becomes worried because you cannot tie like a cow, a deer. So naturally, the deer moves around the ashram. Sometimes goes here, goes there, goes there. And he could not concentrate his mind in meditation. He could not concentrate his mind in thinking of God or anything else. So it became really a big problem. So that was the situation. He is the king Bharata. Now was the Raja and Rishi. As the Raja king, he was becoming a Rishi, the seer of truth. But that obstacle came. So the 23rd verse we read, what great austerities must this land have done to deserve the good fortune of being marked with the tiny and beautiful footprints of this young black buck. For these hoofprints, besides cheering me with the prospect of tracing whereabout of their owners, make its land suitable wholly for the performance of all sacred rites by those who seek heavenly felicity and worldly welfare. Referring to the mark of the deer found in the disk of rising moon, this king, Bharata Rajarsi, would say, is it that the moon has taken for protection this poor motherless fawn, seeing that it has now strayed away from the precincts of this ashrama? So he's thinking that the fawn, that baby deer has gone out of the sight. So he's thinking, worried about, and see loss of this fawn, which is like a sun to me, is scorching the heart like a forest fire. Are you also looking at the moon? Is not giving him any joy, but his attachment to the deer is making his heart break, and he's crying and weeping and sobbing as it were. So he is talking to the moon, "Oh moon, intending to quench that heat of my heat of my heart. You are depressing water from your face, augmented by the sight of my condition, as I go about pitiably in search of my young deer, which is lost now. The baby has run here and there and could not find the holy man, Bharata, the king himself, and gave up everything. Now was meditating in God. Now he fell in love with the deer, and she is running after the deer and searching. Oh, night time. Here is the moon. Moon. Oh, as if moon will find the deer for him, and is talking to moon. And my heart is going very strained and tormented because of this. So what happened? Thus, 26th verse. Thus, distressed by vague and baseless fear, the Raja Rishi, who is Bharata, was led to stray away completely from his spiritual practices of yoga, austerities, and the worship of the Supreme Lord by his own prarabdha karma. Hmm. A person, king gave up everything for God. No? And now giving up everything, the kingdom, the queen, the son, all these luxuries of a king can enjoy, no? For God. And living in a forest, now falling in love with a cat, a dog, a deer. So here is Bharata is totally absorbed in love for the deer, the baby deer. And it is coming because of his prarabdha, no? Past life's action. It gives dilutes us. That's why very serious. In the Narada Bhakti Sutra it is said, don't indulge this type of thing, attachment to anything. It is dangerous. You have progressed so much. You have become sensitive more. You may think that I have no selfish motivation. I love for love's sake. No, unless you are matured enough, you may be entangled into another trap. And Bharata's example is the greatest example that how such a spiritual person get dropped from that lofty level of spirituality to the attachment of a deer. So, how can it be attributed to anything else excepting the prarabdha? In the case of one like Raja Rishi, who had abandoned even his sons, considering them to be an obstacle in the spiritual quest, the king has given up his own sons, no, and responsibility of the country, and detached from them. Now he is come. It is baby deer falling in love with protection and nurturing and caring. All these thoughts are bothering him, and that is disturbing his meditation. Disturbing whole day. Hey, where is my deer? Deer is there. Deer is there. Deer is there. Huh? Because this is a natural thing. A softness, affection comes. It appears like a sattvic quality, but hidden under there is the attraction, attachment, dangerous. So it's in Tarangaita upime Samudrayante. There is a verse in the Narada Bhakti Sutra. When this attachment comes, it is very soft and soothing. It appears very sattvic. I am a holy man. I love innocently. But you do not know when your selfish motivation starts working. You do not know yourself. That's why it is said, be always watchful, careful. That are you loving God or are you loving something else? Because you have progressed so much. And as you become very sensitive, as you become very pure, then you can be caught by subtle things. Suppose someone walking and falls down, its fall will be less, no? You will get hurt, less hurt. Suppose you are going 10 feet height, and there from that you fall down. What will happen? Your pain will be much worse. You will injure yourself much in a greater extent. So this is the spiritual drop. What other explanation can be given for this strange phenomenon of obsession with a deer cat? What did not belong even to the human species? He has given his own sons, own prince, queen, and all luxuries of the all luxuries of the what you call palace. But here coming, why it has happened? Because of the prarabdha, and not watching very carefully. Thus, the Rajarsi Bharata happened to slide away from the path of yoga and engage himself completely absorbed in protection, in feeding, in fondling of the fawn, the baby deer, devoid of all thoughts regarding Atman, Brahman, etc. Beautiful description. No? These are the warning point for reading the book is one thing, as a story. But to take the lesson of it is very important. That is the major purpose of this reading. So there are many stories, what is there in it. But since even don't be self-reliant too much, that I am such a spiritual person, I am strong enough. No, your weak point is somewhere. It's under the less maya, this ignorance, anytime you can be vulnerable. Just then the hour that is inevitable for everyone, that of death, approached him. Now, he also, the king Bharata is old, and as the time goes, he was thinking of the dear, meditation reduced, forgetting I am Atman, those thoughts go away. Where is the deer? Where is the deer? Where is the deer? But anyhow, death approached him with irresistible pace, just like a serpent gliding towards a rat in its hole. Hey, example. At a snake tries to catch a rat. and runs, even if it is in the hole, he wants into the hotel, catch it. So as if his body is dying, but his mind is all caught by the thought of the deer, baby deer. Even at the moment of death, he was looking at the fawn by his side. No, the deer was standing behind, as if it were a son in mourning, sitting beside him, eh? As if his own son, the baby deer, as if so loving. He loves the king also so much, Bharata, so dearly that he is just sitting near the body of Bharata. And he left his body and the deer behind. So naturally, last breath came, and the king Bharata left his body, keeping what can he cannot take the deer with him, but he's taking deer in the mind, with the mind firmly fixed in the latter, not in God. Whole life he practiced. Last moment, last thought is what? Deer. So last thought is very important. Then you will have to be born in that thought, what the thought can lead to. So now, though his old body was dead, his consciousness of the experience of the birth was not lost. Following the fate of an ordinary man, under such circumstances, he was born as a deer. So last thought, what do you think? That's why your spiritual practice is so important. Only last moment you will think of God. If you think of God, it will be in that level of consciousness. If you think of anything else, you will, as it happens, no. It's predominant thought. Sometimes lucid dream. What you do? Your predominant thought and your whole night rotating around that thought. So when one leaves the body, predominant thought, it is godly or it is worldly or whatever thought, be aware. That's why we suggest when you go to see a friend who is dying, don't talk to him mundane things. Hello, how is your bank account? And what you will get and this and that. Don't talk. Rather, sing the glory of God. Sing, chant the mantra. Repeat in front of him. Jai Rama Krishna, Jai Rama Krishna. Hari Om Rama Krishna. Or Krishna Krishna. Or Rama Rama. Whatever. Or Christ. Whatever is he meditated upon. To remind him is a great service to the departing soul. And because that will rekindle his mind, no, in the consciousness, and that will give a boosting to the spiritual life. They are fortunate. This Drija Durga passed away, and I heard that you were all meditating here. I was not here. And then somebody came to him, oh, she's passing. And some of the sadhus and whoever there, they ran and went there, and they started chanting, Hari Om Rama Krishna, Hari Om Rama Krishna. Like that I heard. What a good fortune. At the last point, she's leaving the body, and some sadhus and whoever were all devotees went there and started chanting Lord's name. And with that, the departure. That means you are helping the soul who may be possessed by some other thought. This is because if she has done whole life this type of meditation and prayer, that will be forceful. It's also God's grace. Otherwise, some people there may not be anyone. But if at all anyone or not, you can do yourself. That's the best. If you cannot do, if someone can help. So that this person, there is nobody. He was in a hermitage and ashram in the forest, and the deer was sitting there looking at the deer very fondly, getting absorbed in the deer thought, left the body naturally. The last thought takes your new body. So deer in the next life, but he retained the memory of the past birth. But his glory is that he has been, as he is a pious person, lived a very spiritual life, that some sense of identification with the previous birth, that he was a king and he renounced everything and he's for God, he was practicing. That undercurrent, that thought remained. Now, 28th verse, 8.28. Thanks to the power of his adoration of the Supreme Lord, he remembered even the dear body, the cause of his birth in such a frame, and said to himself with an anguish of the mind, the dear body, being in the dear body, he started thinking because he remembered his past life. All do not remember, no? How many? Rarely we hear that some people remember their past. Did you? We know one lady devotee was here. She said that her sister, when they're born, she used to say that this is not my home. My home is somewhere else. And he was maybe 1 or 2 years just started talking. The sister, is trying to tell her mom, dad, brother, sister, this is not my room. My home is somewhere else. And then actually, after a long time, this persuasion, they thought something maybe there. Okay, let us go. Which direction shall we go? And that daughter guided them this way, that way, that way, that way, and took to the home. And she stated, "This is my room. This is where I am." Huh? Actually, surprisingly, that she can recall her past birth. So here, because Bharata, now in dear body, though in the dear body, but he recalls his past karma or sadhana. So he remembered even the deer body, the cause of his birth, why he is born as a deer, because he was absorbed in the thought of deer, and said to himself with an anguished mind. What he said, quote, "Alas, alas, what a pity that I have fallen from the ways of spiritually accomplished person. My mind was completely offered at the feet of the Lord, and not a bit of my time was wasted in any occupation other than the thought of the Lord. And now residing in the solitude of a holy forest ashram, after abandoning all our other attachments of life, my mind was entirely fixed on God, the Lord of all, and the soul of the soul, completely absorbed in the devotional discipline of hearing and praising the Lord, remembering the Lord, and worshipping the Lord in an unbroken contemplation. Not a minute was spent in vain purposes. That was my life. But alas, the fool that I was, my mind in the end went too far after that deer with the disastrous consequences that have followed. Now I have become in the body of a deer. What happens, in the deer body you cannot meditate. You may try, but you will be always fearful. Oh, there is a tiger coming to catch me. Or deer, you see how the deers are always alert, no? Looking at any sound, anything, anywhere, any little noise, alert. So when he will think of God, his mind is so much fearful, so for survival mode. And you'll have to eat something, starting to graze something, and then running. So deer body is not good for a human body. That's why praised by Shankara. That's one of the greatest boon to have a human body. This is most congenial for God realization. Uh, it can be help us. We have a body such congenial to think of God. You can go to the isolation. You can try to control your mind, but other situations are not so favorable.
But if the deer dies in Benares?
And that good karma they may have them. That's a concessional area.
Monkey.
Monkey
Can think of Rama.
They will all get Rama. And when in Benares, where whatever happens, that's a zone. That's a zone of compassionate zone, the Shiva's zone. So anyone goes, they will be liberated. Their all dues will be excused. Your heavy credit card bill, all will be taken away. You're free. All the karmas will be wiped out by Lord Shiva and Ma Annapurna. Unknown to all, The Bharata deer, the deer who is in the form of Bharat, was thus full of renunciation within. His mind understood, but his body is not fit for that. Therefore, he left his mother dove. The baby, Bharat, was with his mom, born in the deer body. He left his mother and his place of birth in the Kalanjara mountains and migrated to the spot where stood the ashram of Pulastha and Pulaha, which has abundant palm trees and which are dear to holy men because of the manifested presence of the divine. So the deer has a consciousness, it left from that place which is not congenial for spiritual practice. So he ran, giving up his family, mother, dear, and dear mother, dear body is mother, and then he ran into a spot where stood the ashram of two sages. The sages' name is Pulastya and Pulaha. These two sages used to live there, and there is a holy land. And in the sadhu's land, if you go, you can, protection is there. Animals don't come there. Their spiritual energy drives away the anger and all these animosity, animal instinct. So he moved into that holy place. The deer moved from one place to another because of its past life's knowledge. That's why it is also important. If you do some spiritual practice, it does not go in vain. Even in the body of an animal, deer body, you can really use those good karmas can push you to a place where you get a congenial environment. Then keeping himself aloof from the company of others out of fear of consequences and moving about alone, feeding on dry leaves, grass, roots, etc., and binding the exhaustion of prarabdha karma that had brought him to this state, he awaited the dawn of his last day. In the deer body, so he disassociated because association with the deer had brought these consequences being born in the deer body. Now he become aware inside in the deer body. So he gave association with every animal, his other deers, other friend, nothing, but living like an isolated animal, living in a ashrama atmosphere and eating only little dry roots and fruits and like that. And he also, the time came, the deer, the old enough to die. So it brought him straight. He awaited the dawn of his last day. When that last body will drop off, then he'll be free. And at last, when it came, that is, he became old, the deer became old. Deer, who is in the Bharata, in the form of a deer now, when he end came to an end, he abandoned his deer body and in the holy waters of the river there. So she died. So the deer body, which is intermittent uh, attachment, which he has lived that life and then escaped from that body. Now the 9th chapter starts here now. It is the end of the 8th chapter. Then the 9th chapter, the Shukadev, again, the narrator is saying, there was a Brahmana born in Angirasa family, noted for such qualities as the control of mind and the senses and austerity, Vedic study, Vedic teaching, generosity, joyous temperament, forbearance, humility, knowledge of Vedic rituals, absence of envy, knowledge of the Atman, as distinguished from the body, and bliss of Atman consciousness. So now Sukadev says there was a Brahmin. A Brahmin was born in a Gotra, in a lineage of Angirasa. And this was noted for, this Brahmin was noted for all noble qualities. What are the noble qualities? He knows Vedic study. He has the Vedic teachings. He is generous person, joyous in temperament, always joyful, cheerful. And forbearance, he can endure things in life. Humility, that Brahmin has humble nature. Knowledge of the Atman, as yes, intellectual knowledge at least for the what is Atman. Absence of envy. These are wonderful characters. A Brahmin of wonderful character is he there, that Brahman Gotra, his name is Angirasa, and that he was free from, distinguished from the body. Atman is distinguished from the body. He knew intellectually and used to dwell in the bliss of Atman consciousness. That means simply a pious, spiritual Brahmin. He had two wives. By the first wife, whom they have got 9 sons, all noted for their exemplary quality. So she married this Brahmin, had 2 wives. The first wife have gave 9 children, and they are very good. They are also good conduct, knowledge of the Vedas, their handsome appearance, they're generous, and some of the qualities as the father has the quality. The sons also, the child, all the 9 children, they are very good in adapting the father's qualities of Brahminic qualities. And it is said that second wife, first wife and second wife son was Bharata. And he was reborn after the death as a deer. That deer body he left, and he is born here in the Brahmin's home. Second married wife, have 2 children. Among that, Bharat is the one of the child. And the assumption of this Brahmana body constituting his final birth. So now he entered into a deer body is gone because he has done so much austerity spiritual practice. He is born in a ideal family of a Brahmin family whose father is so spiritual. He knows the Vedic rituals, he knows the Vedic chants, he is intellectually understands everything is unreal, God is the real, Atman is the object of beyond Satchidananda truth. So knowing all these principles, in that family, Bharat is born as a son of that Brahmin father. Understand? Now the assumption of this Brahmana body constituting his final birth. So, because he has good karma, see, that's why it is said. Your spiritual life, there is no ultimate loss. Only you are going from, as I give the example, you are going from here. Suppose you are going from here to San Diego. That's your goal, to go to San Diego. But in between, you are going and you found there is a nice fun going on the freeway, that exit near fun zone. Not fun zone means what?
Six Flags.
Something flag where there is so much light and this what is spectrum, urban spectrum. You're going by. Oh, what is this? It's very good, very good. You forget your idea. And you think very good, very good, very good. So you exit and get into that. And then, okay, so much is going on. I can have one movie, I can have this, I can have that. Okay, we can stay one night here. Okay. And when your all experience is done, then you remember, oh, I have to go to San Diego. So here the example is Bharata was doing the great king, who is the king emperor of the country. He has the tremendous renunciation. How much renunciation you can think? That he can give up everything for God. And giving up everything, he dedicated his life for God realization and day and night in Austria and fell in love with a deer, baby deer. Charming, sweet deer, so charming, no? If it's a baby deer, anything baby is very cheerful because they're innocent. Even a bird, you see, a cat, a dog. Cat and dog, of course, they're already have their charming nature. But when they're baby, they're more sweet, no? And that can attach. And he got fond of those baby deer. And because of that, exit, little exit, and then exit, then you love deer. Okay, be deer then. Everyone gets to, if you love anything, you become like that, is it not? So now that consequence, and you have to pay the price of it. You have to pay the hotel charge. You will pay the price of your ticket for going into the movie and this eating this that. No, so you spend your spiritual energy something on that way. And then you suddenly remember, hey, I don't belong here. It's not for me. I have just come here. And then you take your car again, exit, and mainstream. Now he's coming to the Brahmin family. Because of his previous good karma, he is now being born in a Brahmini. Why Brahmin family? Brahmin family because there is congenial atmosphere. In Brahmin family, if you go to South India even now, you will find that a small boy, girl, they can chant Vishnu Sahasranama, is it not? In Tamil,
Yeah.
and even the small children, they can chant so many Vedic hymns and this and that, no? Because that is the atmosphere. As you go, you're born in a musician's family. What will happen? You from childhood, you know the music and tune and note and rhythm and all these things. You become familiar with it. So here also, a spiritual atmosphere is there. Chanting of the Vedas, Vedic rituals are going on. And in childhood, you know everything. The world is momentary, and at least you have intellectually, this enters into your very blood and mind and soul. So there you then get back your past memory. So it is Brahmin family means why is Brahmin family? This is the goodness, Brahminic qualities of love, compassion, holiness, purity, detachment. All these qualities are easy to adapt there. So now the Bharata now is now get out of the dear body and he is now born in the family of the Brahmana, who is the Angirasa's family, Angirasa's sage, and in that lineage he is a Brahmin and he is born in that family. But even in this birth, he was found to be very allergic to the company of his relatives. Why? He was dropped because of the attachment. So what happens here? He does not like any company of others because that will again entrap me into bondage. It is becomes his nature. So this Bharata now become though there are so many. They say and the first wife has 9 sons and 2 of them, so 11 children in the same family. Other friends play and loiter with each other and make fun and die together, no? In a home, 9, 10 children. But he does not associate with anyone. He wants to avoid anyone. And don't talk much, becoming little aloof, aloof, aloof. So when in this birth he was found to be very allergic. It is allergic, the language of his. Allergic to the company of his relatives. Too much attached and now allergic. Opposite of that. He was always mentally contemplating. Why allergic? And I just don't like the association, like to contemplate inward. Contemplating on the Lord's feet through hearing, remembering, recounting his excellences which destroy one's bondage of karma. Because of his past sanskara, see that? Prarabdha. The child is born with this wonderful characteristic. In between that dear affection to dear and its consequences goes away. That's why Vedanta says you don't lose anything, only you get delayed. So why to delay? It's not a good experience. But that good experience is this, that he feel more detached from everything. And then ever remembering the experience of his past birth. That was his good fortune. He remembered that why he was in dear body, what he was before entering into the dear body. Because of this remembrance, he became withdrawn. His past birth, through the Lord's grace, he was constantly vigilant against new obstacles. I don't make another mistake now. Because I have done that and I have paid the penalty so much, I don't want to pay any more penalty. And in order to dissociate himself from the company of others, he put on the air of an inebriated man, a senseless man, and a man without sight or hearing. As if he's a dumb, he says something, you don't respond. He says, look at this. So he behaved like that, as if he's a dumb, as he's a dull, inebriated person, senseless. He'd say something, and he does not understand anything. He say, hey, come here. Standing there. That is, hey, I asked you to come here. Oh. That means he is intentionally behaving like a senseless person, dumb person, because not intentionally, his mind is more drawn inside, so he's not responding to the outside responses, as we say a sensible person does. Eager that his son should excel him in virtue, father always wants my son should, I am a Brahmin, I know the Vedas, my son should know much more. They can chant much more. They can do the home fire much more efficiently. So his father decided to put him through all the preparatory disciplines that a Brahmana should undergo up to Samavartana. Up to Samavartana is the ceremony marking the end of the education. We call graduation. Up to end of that earlier system was there. A child will go to Guru's house and they will learn the Vedic chanting, Vedic mantras and all these things. And at the end of when they are matured, the teacher will give them a farewell session. And that is called the your graduation ceremony we call now, that type of ceremony. So his Brahman, he thought that my son should be equally, though he is little different, but tried to put all this meaningful thing in the life of his son. He first had the Upanayana performed. He's a Brahmin, so he should have a sacred thread ceremony. He had that and tried to teach him various purificatory rites as Achamana. Om Vishnu, Om Vishnu, Om Vishnu. We do that. It's called Achamana. Achamana, in spite of his being senseless boy. So though he cannot just follow everything, we say, hey, we call his retarded, no? In our sense, we call retarded. But his retardedness is not like us. His retardedness is, his mind is absorbed in God. So he does not want to get involved into it. But his father is trying to give him the sacred thread and say every day, you practice every day. Om Vishnu, Om Vishnu, Om Vishnu, sprinkle Ganga water, chant this way, meditate this way, Om Bhur Bhuva Swa, chant that. But he is not, he cannot perform all this because he is a little dull. But Bharata performed all these rites in an indifferent manner. He is doing everything, but he is not so much attached to anything. He is chanting, sipping them Ganga water, or she is saying Om Bhur Bhuva Swa, not with enthusiasm. You are telling me to do. Okay, I'm doing. And you can do 10 times, but it takes only one time, to long time it takes to chant one time. No? That means he's not very much enthusiastically doing, indifferent in the father's presence, so that the father might soon give up him, give up on him as hopeless. So his father will give up on him. That no, he is not responding. He does not know the Brahminic work. He does not chant the mantra. Even if he's given, his dull head does not take all these things. Modern day they'll say retarded child. No, actually a retarded child, he does not respond. He does not understand. He's slow in learning. Nowadays we use these terms. He's slow in learning. No, he cannot learn. When his buddhi is not very sharp. But this is Bharata is totally intelligent, but outwardly behaving like that. He does not want anything. He goes more inside. With the idea of teaching him the Vedas, the father first instructed him in the Gayatri mantra. Before Vedic rituals, you chant Vedic mantra, Gayatri mantra. Brahma, as I said, what is that? Bhurvasva tat savitur varenyam bhargo devasya dhimahi dhiyo yuna prachodayato. So this mantra he tried to give him. So the father first instructed him in the Gayatri mantra, combined with the Bharitis and the Pranava, Om, etc. But even after 4 months teaching, the boy could not recite them with proper intonation. 4 months he could not learn this one small, we chanted just now, no? What father is trying to ask him to memorize, but 4 months he tried, but he could not say Om, Bhur, Bhuvaswa, etc. etc. The father had deep affection for his son, who is to be looked upon by a father as a replica of one's own self. He was thinking he's a bright boy, he will be much more than me. I am a Brahmin, I know this ritual, I know that ritual. This son, Bharata, will be much more glorious in this. But he is not responding. He therefore wrongly thought that it was his duty to teach his son, even against his will. All the duties of brahmacharin, like purificatory rites, Vedic study, observances of the vows, discipline of life, service of teacher, performance of home of fire, etc. He tried his best to do so, but failed. His father tried to give him the mantra, Gayatri mantra. He could not do that. Then he tried to give him, okay, I will try. Even 4 months, he could not manage to utter the Gayatri mantra. I'll give him how to learn the home of fire. How can you know? But he tried. But he failed. So years passed by, with the father unaware of its passage on account of his engrossment in household affairs. So this way went on, and father was also engrossed in other duties. So many years passed. But ever vigilant time, capital time, soon swallowed him in death. That means the father then died, who was so much sincerely trying to bring Bharata like a Brahmin, ideal Brahmin, but father died. Thereupon the second wife of the Brahmana entrusted her 2 children to the elder wife, and herself accompanied her husband in death. That is called Sati. It is their own consciously they used to go to be united with their husband and wife together. Anyhow, so she also died, and as a result, this son, 2 sons, also added to the first mother. So they have now 11 children together. His strange conduct. Verse number 8. After the father's death, the brothers who had only theoretical knowledge of the Vedas but not spiritual realization, other brothers are intelligent. They have learned the Vedic chanting, they have learned the Achamana, they have learned the Gayatri mantra, and all this is known very well. So, but they do not know inner meaning. to love God, to be discriminating and focusing on the Atman. But he has his own sanskar, Bharata. Bharata has his own life, previous life. So we do not, spiritual realization thought that it was of no use to educate a senseless fellow like their brother, and soon desisted from attempts in that direction without any inkling of his spiritual worth. That's the thought. This is worthless boy, worthless brother. We cannot help anyway. My father cannot do that. We also tried. So let him be. Little ignorantly, and just put him aside. When vulgar men, and when they did that like that, when vulgar men who are no better than two-legged animal, than human being, move on two leg, but two leg is a human, but inside is an animal. So the ordinary men, that is ordinary people, worldly people, called him, this Bharata, that is the madcap, or idiot, or dumb and deaf fellow. He behaved accordingly, and he also behaved accordingly. So people used to call, he's a dumb guy going on, there's an idiot going on. He does not take it seriously. People say. And he also behaving in that manner. And when they forced him to act in any way, he did so also. And hey, do this, come, work on here. Okay, with under force, he will do that. But he has no inkling for doing anything in the world. He wants to disassociate. He subsisted on whatever he get by chance. All the brothers have abandoned, and he's out. So he's a dull guy, half mad. People are thinking like that, and he's begging on alms. Whatever he gets, he eats. When it does not get, does not eat. So that is the way. He subsisted on whatever he get by chance, or by begging, or by working for wages. He used to work, daily work, going to somewhere, give some service, give some money, or by what he was given for doing forced labor. He was forced to do something. After doing, they give some, eating some bread or something. He used to survive on that. But no demand. Whatever he got, whether it was small or large quantity, whether it was well cooked or ill cooked, he ate it for mere sustenance of the body, and not for placating the sense of taste. No? He has no chance, because he behaving such a way, who will give him good food? After making him work, whatever under beyond his will, they will ask him to do work and give little ordinary food or something. And whatever, he does not judge anything, whatever comes, like a monk. See, the wonderful quality is prarabdha karma is goading him. He has no complaint, he has no enemy. He does not say, hey, I am an intelligent man, why are you behaving like that? He does not say anything, but he absorbed everything and accepted everything. But he always remained in the intuitive bliss of Atman that was natural to him, and did not depend on any extraneous cause or stimulation for its inducement. Enjoyment and suffering, honor and dishonor, which are only matters affecting to the body, were never attributed by him to the Atman, his real nature. So, his real Bharat is inside. So he intentionally does not pay any value to all these things. That's why he behaves outwardly like a mad or insane person, but inwardly aware of God consciousness. In the heat and cold, in rain and wind, he moved about like a ox and a bull, without anything to protect the body. No, and there is no clothing. Where she'll get? He's such a person. He does not respond to anything, does not tell anything, does not complain anything. Whatever he gets, like a beggar. So his sun and rain or weather, it matters little. He was unaffected. By giving a bath and cleaning of the body, and by practice of lying on the bare ground, he well built muscular frame was converted into a thick layer of dirt, through which his Brahmanic luster was very dimly visible, like the luminosity of an unpolished gem. Is unpolished gem. So people very difficult to understand that type of spiritual personality who behave like an ordinary person. Wearing a dirty cloth and soiled Jaggopubit means the sacred thread. Sacred thread, it has become dirty because he's lying in the floor, lying under the ground, under the sun, under the rain, no food, no taking care of the body, so no home, nothing. So he's a dirty person. So full body is smeared with dust and dirt. So here and there, and mocked by the vulgar folk as the madcap Brahmana. The children always run after this type of looking savvy, matted lock or something dirty. The children always poke them, sometimes tease them innocently. But he endured all these things. When he consented to do work in exchange for food, he would be engaged even by his brothers to level fields with earth and other similar work. Even his brothers were to give some work against labor. You do this, then we will give you a little food. But they used to give them dirty work, hard work, like leveling the ground and etc. While doing such work, he was not aware of what he did, whether he had leveled the ground or whether he had heaped up other helter-skelters, whether he had filled up the place or whether more earth was required to be do so. Whatever they gave him, be it rice, flour, oil cake, sap, spoiled pulses, or charred food, he ate up and everything as if it were like nectar to him. So this is giving an example of how he is born in a Brahmin family and like a Brahmagyani, internally drawn for God, but externally behaving like a what you call a mad person. So it's living like that. So we end here, verse number 11 of 9th chapter. 5, 9, 11 we end. We'll read from the next story. Is interesting how he has taken to a human sacrifice and they caught him and some mother worshippers that in those days there was some system human sacrifice. So he thought an idiot was sitting there finding for some good guy and said the nice boy is here, okay, take him. And yes, then well clean the body and put the oil and this and that and was going to be chopped. And that time mother appeared. Mother appeared, destroyed those uh, priests and um, and the performers who wanted human sacrifice. No. So that group entire, mother appeared and killed everyone and protected this Bharata. So that story we'll read next day when we next time when it's time. So we are on the ending here 5, 9, 11. 5, 9, 11. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ram Krishna Panamastu. So next 7:30 we'll have our class on Jivan Mukti Gita, the song of Jivan Mukta, liberated person. So we have two questions here. One question is, how do I love and care for my cats without becoming attached? That's a big question. So we learn from here. So if we love as the Bharata loved, then there is a danger. Do we want that danger? No. So how to do that? Then love in a way that who is in the cat? A dead cat you don't love. You love a cat who is miming behind the cat. See, it is God. If you at all have to love the cat, then you will have to think, who am I attracted to? The cat's body? How sweet is the cat and how she licks your body and your cheeks and chins, no? Is that is, but who is doing that inside? If you think it is God, then it will be released. But we forget God and we think the cat for cat. I love the cat, cat loves me. That is the only word we say. My dog is so good. But my dog and I. So dog loves me, I love dog. So it is like a superficial love. But it's spiritualizing it. It should be, I love that cat, but that cat is not cat. Behind the cat is the same divine who is in me. God has love inside the cat. So that may be one solution. And if you're a monk, then you say, don't get attached to anything. Because you know how developed was the Bharata, King Bharata, and where from it dropped. Because of that, you do not know your capacity. If you are strong enough, it will not affect you. But if you are not strong, you will be caught into the trap. So those two ways. One, cut. I need not have to love everything. No. Or if you have to love seeing that you are loving God in that person. I think these may be the two solutions. What is the difference between genuine renunciation and developing aversions? What about difference between real renunciation and escapism? That we understand. Escapism is when what happens, something happened which I don't like. I always, who wants to enter into trouble? There is some trouble, I avoid. But are you avoiding because of the trouble or are you avoiding because of love for God? Same point. For love for God, if it is called renunciation. Other things are available. That's why it is said, who can renounce?
Beggars can.
Beggar cannot renounce. You have something, you have that's why in our Ramakrishna order it said, the boy want to join. You get educated, earn good money, have your strength, then you renounce. That means you show to yourself, you are not weak person, that you cannot get established in life, and you are not fit to survive in the world, cannot earn money, cannot do anything, and you will do spiritual progress. That may be camouflaging. Rather, you have the capacity. Ashishto, Dhrishto, Balishto, Medhavi. That example has been given in the Upanishad. A person for spiritual growth should be strong in physical body, Ashishto. Mentally strong. Those who are mentally weak people, if they become renounced, they will be really making a mistake. You should be a very, not only normal, super normal, alert, active, perfect. You have every capacity. Say a boy teaching in the university. I don't like it. He's earning good money, good prestige, good name, gives up. That's called renunciation. I have something, I give up. So why? That also why I love God. I love God so much that these are all my time goes away in other aspect. So I don't want to spend my time in wasteful thing. Rather, I want to make it more meaningful because my life is short. You see, one life did so many good things. Only one thing, he loved it dear, affectionately, not thinking God. Only dear is dear, dear is dear, dear is alone, dear's mother is died. Who will look after? Who will look after? Out of compassion. That means you are looking at the dear for dear, not God. And as a result, see the consequences. He has to be born and then again born in a Brahmin family. 2 lifetime is going on. With the little one stop, one mistake, it is taking 2 lifetime. So, therefore, difference between is that it is temporary. Escapism, if anyone even joins the monastery or a convent, escaping is some getting away from something. For the momentary 1 or 2 years, 3 years, it will go on. But that attraction, if it is not for God, it will pull him back again. It will. That's why it is likely a chance for downfall again. So therefore, renunciation should not be a love for due to love for God. And I love God so much that other doesn't things don't is not so much tasteful for me, distasteful. That is the real genuine. And Ramakrishna said, one boy, one boy was searching for a job and could not find any job and any security, anything. So he left one day home. And everyone in the family fell into much disaster. And he was the only boy who could have helped us, at least stand by us. Now he is also gone. And he renounced and he would become a monk. And Ramakrishna said that after some time, they find a letter coming from that boy. Oh, don't worry, I got a job, I'm coming back. So renunciation is not just giving up. Renunciation is attraction for God. As a result, you cannot attach to the other thing. I love, it happens, no? In human life, you look at that. When a young boy is growing, and when he falls in love with a girl, what happens? Their love for mom and dad becomes, their love is there, but it supersedes this love. That's why it becomes spontaneous to give up their parents and other situation, no? But if the love for mom and dad is too much, their relationship will not be so intense. They cannot be. It cannot go both ways. So you love God, and for that you detach from the world, or you love world, then you detach from God, as we are all doing. So this is the thing. Genuine thing will be, and also Ramakrishna said that when you what is called genuine renunciation and temporary. Temporary renunciation is like in a hot pan. If you sprinkle some water, what happens? Sprinkling some water, it will cool. But how much? In a split second, it burns out. So renunciation is there, but that renunciation is temporary. So permanent renunciation is always loving God is called renunciation. And as a result of loving God, the detachment comes from the other side. That's called renunciation. Okay? Very good. Bah, very good. So we know what is escapism. So we always say, don't escape. Don't try to escape. Yeah, you should fall in love with God. Escaping is no way. To avoid something does not make you spiritual. But it is, why are you avoiding? Two reasons may be there. That I cannot take it. It's beyond my capacity. So you surrender there. But no, I love the other subject so much that I cannot bear with it. So it's the east and west. I am standing in the eastern place and I want to get out of the room. So if one leg is kept here and another leg, can I put outside the door? No. You'll have to step, one step you go, one step it falls back. A second step you go, second step you are off from this side. You are going on that side. So if you move towards God and world and God, that Satan and God, they have always conflict. Satan always fights with God. Meaning what? When he enters into it so that God's love comes to the Satan. So we are all in love with Satan. What is the Satan? The world, the temporary things of life. Huh? Because we are attracted to that, we don't go to the infinite love of God. We cannot go there. So this is the practices to be done, which direction to which direction. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tatsat Sri Ramakrishna Panamastu. Those who renunciation is a power. Renunciation is freedom. That is because you love God so much, you don't care for anything. All are secondary. But to go to that level, we should have to be real love for God. And that's why people even getting chance. They have no commitment. They are understanding something that the world is not, but cannot become a totally give up. One boy I know, is in DC area. He's thinking, shall I be? Shall I not be? Shall I be? Shall I not be? About 5 years he's running like that. And now his age is already going this way. So this is the question, to give a jump. Who can give a jump? Whatever happened, I jump. Swami Shankarananda Maharaj used to say, now can you jump from this on the bank of Ganga or Belur Math? So Swamiji also said, you want to be a monk? If I ask you to go climb the coconut tree and jump from there, can you do that? That means jump. It is a question of jumping into whatever happens, God, that's all, good or bad. So
He
then,
also, when he left home for Baluma, in a very interesting way, he went with his friends for the bathing in the Ganga, and it was Kali Puja day. And then he was swimming in the Ganga. Friends were also swimming. He just crossed the Ganga and went to Baluma.